Hey guys, Jason back again at MRS Hobby. We're going to continue construction of the T'au Enforcer battle suit today. And what we've got done so far are his legs and feet are out here together. So we're going to finish up the instructions on his little torso, and then we'll dig into building his upper body and jetpacks, etc. And hopefully we'll get this guy all finished up today, and then we'll move on to other projects. So I can see here there's some extra little business from the sprue. I'm just gonna quickly clean up. Alright, so now we're looking for this waist section here, and it's going to be in two pieces, and looks like we've got it here. And the front portion is here. Always dry fit, and I try to clean up my pieces while I'm fitting them. Alright. Glue may have dried, so I might have to burn the dry junk out of the tube. That'll happen with this plastic glue. I mean, a little thin metal tube, and glue loves to just build up in there and solidify and block it all out. All right, that's that for the hips. So I'm going to put these aside again until we're ready to glue the legs on. So again, my little bead sorting case I got super cheap at local, Walmart or whatever, the local box store. Alright, so here in the instructions, I'm going to just flip the page over, and it's going to show us how to build the drones, which we already kind of went over how to build the drones. They're pretty simple, but it's got his upper body, so we're going to go ahead and build those parts. After that, it switches to the which variant you're going to build, and we'll cover that as we go. So we're going to need the front and back of the chest. There's a top piece. These two rear pieces where his jetpacks attach, and that pretty much is the whole upper body. So we'll just go ahead and start clipping those pieces out as a accordance with the instructions here. Do some quick cleanup and get them glued together. like I said, I'm hoping we can, in this video, just go ahead and finish up the commander. They're not very difficult to build. Some of the weapons, I feel like the big burst cannon can be, but we're not putting that on this variant, so just make sure that dry fitting is key, especially if you haven't built a certain part before. When you dry fit it, you'll get a pretty good indication of whether or not it's fitting like it should. In that it'll either look like it should or doesn't. So we've got these two pieces, that piece. MRS has these little files. They're 3-sided. They're up there by the register. They're like $1 or something, and they are really good. They have 3 flat edges, and like you can just run it along there, along your piece that you want to get, like your the excess from the sprue that the nippers didn't quite get, and man, it just pulls that stuff right off. And some people say that a file is probably overkill, and it might be, but it's sometimes, depending on the shape of the part, is a lot easier to just kind of get in there with like a small file like this than like trying to fold up a piece of sandpaper to fit on it and get what you want removed. So whether it's appropriate to use a file or not, I still do. I find it easy, and ultimately, I mean, whatever works for you. Listen to what others say and listen to their opinions, but in the end, if that opinion doesn't work for me, then I just continue doing what does work for me. So that looks good. Those pieces look good. Alright, so now we're just going to go ahead and dry fit these together. You can see that this is pretty simple. They just kind of fit right together like that. And these bits here, they have a little notch, so they just kind of glue on to that piece like that. And then these little circular bits here is where the jetpack's attached to that. Up here, this is our the rest of the little kind of bowl thing where the head fits, and this guy fits on the back. Like that. Alright, so everything fits pretty good, and we'll just go ahead and start gluing this guy together. Alright, so we'll flip it over to the back and we'll glue this little piece on here. It does have a little curved bit to fit around this little round piece there. And then go ahead and glue these on, and that'll be the upper body. That's all the upper body except, well, that's all the upper body in the instructions to this point. And then here's our torso. And then we'll come back with our legs. And we had kind of a dynamic pose. I'm pretty sure we're going to kind of maybe have this guy like jumping. This little round nub is always in the front. That's the butt, and that's the front. So Takes a second for this to dry, but it usually sets pretty quick. We're going to angle these toes down so it looks like he's kind of has pushed off of this foot to begin a jump. Again, these little nubs that I'm clipping off, they are sculpted onto the model just if you want the default type of a stance, which we don't, so it's okay to clip those off and just kind of get what you want. So I'm kind of making him, I want to say, I don't know what kind of a white character makes a jump like this, but maybe it's like a superhero type jump up in the air, like. And then we'll have this foot kind of be flat out. Because we're making this character jump, we are going to have to use a flight stand, and in this last upper body piece that we just put together, there's the little divot for the waist. Place in the flight stand. The flight stand will be glued down to the base, but we may leave it so we don't glue it, so we can remove him for transport. If you want to glue it down, you totally can. I just, in the past, I have another one that's kind of jumping and flying, and I didn't glue it down because then I can separate the model from the flight stand and base, which is kind of it's definitely nice for transporting. So go ahead and nip off the nub for that other foot and get our glue in. Alright, let's take a look. So we are not going to build the Cold Star. The Cold Star has the jetpacks with the fins. So we're not going to use that one. We're going to use the Enforcer ones because I already have 2 Cold Stars. So we're just going to skip this whole section and we're going to get to the section that's the XV85 Enforcer Battlesuit. And then we're gonna kind of pick up from there. And here's where you can kind of see with the flight stand connected to the base, and then it's got this little ball on the end of it, and that fits really nice and snugly inside the base here, and so you can kind of just boop, kind of pop it on and pop it off whenever you need to transport or whatever. We're gonna build the jetpacks, we're not going to put these bits on yet. These are, if you're playing Warhammer 40K, these are what are known as support systems. They can be magnetized. You can glue them on if you just like the way they look or whatever. The engines are basic, or the jetpacks are basically two pieces that snap together or glue together, and then you can decide what type of support system, or if you want to attach weapons to that part, you can. You don't have to have the weapons on his arms. But I'm not going to glue these jetpacks onto the model because it makes it kind of difficult to paint when they're like that. So I am going to build them and kind of keep them, you know, obviously with the model here, but I'm not going to quite put them on yet. So I'm going to go ahead and clip these out. On these, you can see that they have this little nub here. That's what fits into this piece. Now we just need the other side. Just also remember, and I probably have said this before, so I hate it if I am repeating myself, but just keep in mind that there may be a lot of options, so it's not unusual to have parts left over. Just make sure that you do have all the parts that you need to have in order to complete the build. So yeah, this is your jetpack. It's just these two halves that glue together. Again, I'm going to dry fit and try to clean up some of the sprue where my little nippers couldn't get in there. This is an ugly one here. I'm gonna have to. All right. Always make sure to clean up your sprue pieces. When you start to paint is where they just shine through if you don't clean them up. You put your primer on, you start putting your paint, and it's not usually until you put your first coat of wash on that the wash will tell you, you've missed a section of cleaning the sprue part off. And then you just kind of have to live with it, because at that point it's too late. So dry fit, clean up, glue, and clean up again. If you continue doing that, then you'll get a clean fit every time. All right, so we're gonna finish up these engines and glue the upper body on. That'll just take a couple minutes, and then that'll be it for today. We'll finish up the head and basing and stuff on the next video. All right, we'll catch you guys on the next one.